What is up, party people? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila. This is JemilaBeReadin because I do be reading. And yes, we're doing another wrap-up. Yes, there's going to be basically two wrap-ups back to back, but that's fine. That's okay. I'm even surprised that I'm filming this May wrap-up this early, to be quite honest. Who even knows when this is going to go up? But anyways, we're doing my May wrap-up. I didn't read as much as I thought I would in May, considering it was supposed to be this month before my internship starts. I was done with finals. I was gonna be chilling. I had so many plans, and yet most of them was just me lounging, doing nothing but looking at TikTok. So that's where we're at right now. But anyways, let's talk about what I read this month. As y'all know, I posted a May TBR for Asian Readathon, and I did not really read much from that TBR. I think I read 3 books. Anyways, the first book that I read at the start of the month was The Bride Test, which is the second book in the Kiss Quotient series, I suppose. Hello, Editing Jamila here. I didn't like the way I initially described what The Bride Test was about, so I'm just gonna do that here right now. It follows Michael, who is a main character in the Kiss Quotient. His best friend's younger brother, Kai, is one of the protagonists, and the other protagonist is Esme, who is living in Vietnam at the start of the book until Kai's mother convinces her to come to the US for the summer to try and woo Kai, because his mom wants him to get married and he doesn't really want to get married. He is also autistic and feels like he's incapable of love, and so that is the setup of this story. Obviously, romance ensues. Yeah. It was okay, you know, to be quite honest. I was kind of disappointed because I really loved the Kiss Quotient, so I was really excited to read The Bride Test, and it was only okay. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't bad, and there was like a lot of cute moments, but I just felt like the relationship development between Kai and Esme just happened way too quick. And I wanted there to be more like communication between the two of them, like getting to know each other and all that stuff. And there's also a trope in this that I don't really like. Kind of spoilers, so maybe skip ahead if you don't want to hear this. But there is a like secret child kind of situation where Esme has a child from a previous relationship, and she does not mention this until literally the very end of the book, when, you know, everything is fine and dandy. And I don't really like those like secret children, secret baby tropes. Like, that is a big thing to hide from a potential partner, and I just don't really vibe with that at all. But yeah, it was fine. I still like the Kiss Quotient a lot more. I'm still excited for The Heart Principle, which is the 3rd book, and it's going to be following Quan, which I'm really excited about. I love a good bad boy, so I'm excited for that one. All right, so next up, I read another romance book. This is The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert, formerly known as Wanna Bet, and had a different cover. She rebranded recently about this book and changed the name and updated the cover and everything. So just in case you were wondering, it was formerly known as Wanna Bet. This is a friends to lovers romance, which honestly, I think I might like better than like rivals to lover. I'm thinking that I might be a friends to lover type of gal. But anyway, this is a friends to lovers romance that follows our main character, Jasmine, who through some circumstance has to temporarily stay with her best friend, Rahul, because a flood basically happened and damaged her room and everything that happened. So while it's getting fixed, she needs a place to stay. So she stays with him. And they've been best friends for like 7 years, and basically they have a romance. There's not really like a plot. There is kind of like, it's dual POV and it's also dual timeline. So sometimes we'll get like how they met, and then like slow progressions of their friendship building, which I really liked. I just, you know, it comes with the genre, but like insta-love is so common, and it's like a trope that I really don't like. I love seeing characters like really build towards a relationship, whether that be friendship or otherwise. So I just, insta-love, you know, I suspend my disbelief, but like it's really refreshing when you have a story where they've been friends for a long time and you even get to watch that friendship develop and then watch the romance blossom. I like that. I like a slow burn. I love a slow development of a romance. So I really like this one. I gave it 4 stars. It has the trademark Talia Hibbert banter. It was great. I don't know what to say. I've noticed that I've accidentally gone on this mission to read all of Talia Hibbert's books. I will be talking about another one that I read later on. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, next up, I have another romance. I was really feeling the romance in the month of May, but I read The Dating Plan by Sara Desai. This is, it kind of has a lot of tropes going on. It's a fake fiance trope mixed in with a second chance romance with a dash of a one-sided enemies to lovers. So it kind of has a lot of different things going on, but I think the author did a really good job of putting that all together. This is following our main character, Daisy, who is in her late 20s. She's like a software engineer living in San Francisco. Her family has been like negging her to get married, setting her up on these like impromptu dates and all of this stuff. They really want her to get married, and she doesn't really have any interest. And then you have Liam, who is a venture capitalist. His grandfather recently passed, and a contingency in the inheritance for Liam is that he has to get married before his next birthday in order to receive the inheritance. Liam is Daisy's older brother's best friend from when they were in high school. So 10 years, they haven't seen each other, they run into each other, and then through circumstances, they concoct this plan so that Daisy can get her family off her back and that Liam can get his inheritance. And then all of that ensues. It was really cute. I really liked it. I loved Daisy's like relationship with her father and the rest of her family, and I love that Liam was like really tight knit with her family at one point. All of this stuff, it was just, they had great banter, they had really great chemistry. I really liked it, and I want to read I think it's called The Marriage Pact. That's also by Sara Desai. I think it's technically the one that came before this one, but I just thought it was really good. 4 stars, 4.5 stars actually. I really liked it. You should check it out. I don't feel like I hear a lot of people talking about this one. So go read it. Go read it right now. Then I read Jade City by Fonda. Okay. I've been dying to read this book for so long, and I finally did, and it wrecked me. Like, I'm suing for emotional damage because I don't even know what I was expecting. This is a fantasy novel. It's the first in the Greenbone Saga trilogy, and it is following multiple perspectives, mainly from this one family, the Call family, in this island of Kekon, which is supposed to be reminiscent of 1970s Hong Kong, if I'm not mistaken. On this island, it is known for producing jade. And in this world, jade has magical properties that if you use jade, like if you just have it on your body, it will enhance your strength, your perception, your agility, your speed, all that type of stuff. It basically super humans you. If that makes any sense. But you really have to be trained in order to take it because it can affect you negatively. It they call it the itches. So if you're not someone who is, like from one of these families that traditionally hold the jade, if you're not properly trained to use it, it will basically like destroy you in the long term. It's like almost like a drug. And so you have this going on. You have outside influences who want the jade and have like produced drugs that are supposed to aid people who are not trained to use it coming in. And then you have this rival Greenbone family called, what are they called? The Mountain Clan. You have, the Call family. Where am I going with this? The Call family is our main peeps, okay? The Call family are a part of they're the No Peaks clan, okay? And then you have the Mountain clan and their rivals, and there's not, I don't even know exactly how to explain like what the plot of this is. It's kind of just like this big sweeping story that's following all of these different things that are happening to these characters, and it's leading towards something. And it was just a lot. Okay. Oh my god, I really liked it. It was so good. I have the second book checked out from my library, and I've been oscillating back and forth between whether or not I wanted to pick it up immediately or wait, because this book just this let's move on. Let's move on. The second Talia Hibbert book that I read this month was The Princess Trap. This one, I have to say, by far is Talia Hibbert's worst book that I read. It's not terrible. It's not by any means the worst romance book or even the worst book that I read. So I just want to put that out there, you know. But I did give this one 3 stars. I would even hearken to say a 2.75 stars. This one was just really disappointing. I have to say, it had a really interesting setup. You have our main character's Cherry, who is working in HR at a, like, I think prestigious like academy in the UK. And then you have Prince Reuben of Helgamore, which is a made-up country, but it's supposed to be de facto Scandinavian country, and he is basically trying to find a school to give his like scholarship fund to, something of that sort. That's kind of like how they end up meeting, because he's touring this school and they bump into each other. They kind of have an instant attraction, and he asks her out. And it turns out that Reuben is somewhat of a controversial figure in his country, so the Helgamore media is always following him and catches him making out with Cherry in an alleyway, and he basically has to say that she is his fiance, so they will delete the photo, but that's not true, obviously, because they just met. And they end up doing like another fake fiance type of situation. She ends up going to Helgamore with him, and they're like, in a year, we'll do this for a year, and then you'll break up with me, and then we'll all go on our merry way. And it's all this stuff. So I don't know, like the setup was interesting. I like the characters individually, and you know, they did for the most part have good chemistry. This book was actually lacking in the banter that I've come to know and expect from a Talia Hibbert book, but you know, it was still fine. But it just, my problem is if you are going to give a specified timeline in a story, I want the entire timeline. You say we're going to be together for a year and then we end this. But the entire story takes place over the course of maybe a month, and then everything is fine. I don't know. That really bothered me. It was way too insta-lovey, and I felt that Cherry was being way too forgiving towards Reuben for things, considering he kind of ruined her life and upended everything that's normal for her and all this other stuff. And you know, regardless of how sympathetic he might be, it just kind of bothered me that there wasn't like communication and work that went into it, and they didn't really get to know each other. We didn't get to really see them, you know, going out and doing things and learning more about each other. It just was like instant attraction, and that was really what was carrying the story along. And again, it happened over the course of a month, and I'm like, why did we even introduce this whole year plot line? We didn't need to have that at all if that was going to be the case. But anyways, it's fine, whatever. It was okay. Read it if you want, but it was not my favorite of Talia Hibbert's works. So, just putting that out there. And lastly, the last book that I read of the month was Gold Diggers by Sanjena Sathian. This is a story following Neil, who is Indian American living in Atlanta, Georgia. He is living in a predominantly white neighborhood, but is kind of insulated in his like Indian community within that neighborhood. He has a friend named Anita who is his neighbor. Her mother has been brewing this alchemical potion, a lemonade of sorts, where they take gold from other people who have like ambition or drive or who are really successful, and brew this potion so that some of that success will like transfer to the person who's drinking the potion. And so they have this whole thing going on. Neil gets involved, but then something tragic happens that ends this whole plot, and Neil and Anita are separated until they meet again 10 years later, this time in San Francisco. Neil is now a grad student of history. Anita is working and doing other things, and they have to come up with this whole like heist situation because Anita's mother is going through something and feels like that's the only way to feel better is to have this gold lemonade brew. So that is kind of the plot. It's definitely looking at, you know, identity, you know, American meritocracy, what it means to be American, what it means to be Indian, and, you know, being like first, second generation people. So I posted an Instagram, like a little mini review. If you want to go check that out, go check out my Instagram while you're there. But this had the makings of everything that I would have really liked, but for some reason it just didn't come together in a way that I enjoyed. I think ultimately I'd maybe give this one like a 3.5 stars. The writing is excellent. Like, it's really good. But I think my biggest issue is that I didn't care for Neil as the protagonist. And it's interesting because I generally tend to enjoy, or at least can separate myself and just like enjoy the rest of the story when it's like a really messy or apathetic protagonist. But I've realized that most of those characters that I've read have been women. So I don't know if maybe I just like, I don't care about this guy. He needs to get it together. I was just a lot more interested in Anita and her mom and her grandmother, like this 3 generation of women. I was interested in like their relationship with this alchemical potion and, you know, what it all means to them and their family and how it affected these characters rather than Neil, who was just kind of watching this unfold. He was involved, but kind of on the sidelines, always like never really understanding Anita in particular. And I just didn't care for him as a protagonist. Like, I kind of wish the story was told from like Anita's perspective. But overall, I think it definitely was an impactful story. Like, I've been thinking about it a lot, and the writing, like I said, was so good. And I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye out on this author. I think this was her debut, so if she comes out with another book, I'll check it out. Those are the books I read in May. I want to quickly touch on some manga and graphic novels. I did read the first 2 volumes of The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and they were both great. I both gave them 4 stars. I'm very excited to continue. I actually went and got the 3rd, 4th, and 5th volumes from my library. I'm really excited. I love Morpheus, okay, a feminist icon, love him, and I'm super excited for this Netflix show. They've been like updating the casting and everything, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this show, and I'm excited to continue with it. It's kind of hard to describe what it's about. I mean, it's basically about the Sandman, aka Morpheus, aka Dream. It's really good, and I highly recommend it, and I really like the art style. I wasn't expecting to, but it really grew on me, and it's good. It's good. As far as manga goes, I've been keeping up with My Hero Academia, which has taken such a dark turn. I'm into it, and I've been reading some of One Punch Man, actually. I recently rewatched the 1st and 2nd season and decided to continue the manga from there, and it's been okay. I'm kind of waiting for like something more to happen. I'm sad that Saitama is not like, he's still the main lead, but he's not so much involved in where the story is right now, which is sad because he's like my favorite part of the story. But anyways, yeah, as far as TV shows, movies, anime, I've been watching, oh my gosh, I watched Run On, which is a K-drama on Netflix that is about this guy who is a professional, like, track star, and this other girl who's like a translator and all of this stuff. It was okay. I was really feeling it for like the first 7 episodes, 8 episodes even, like basically half of it. I was really feeling it, and then it really just didn't really go anywhere. I didn't really enjoy like how their relationship developed. I don't know, and I didn't care about the secondary relationship either. Basically, it all just kind of went flat for me. It was fine if you want to watch it. It's like something super easy to watch, and there is like not really any high stakes at all. So that's one thing. I also have been watching New Girl. I'm now on season 3. It's been a very slow watch for me, but I'm starting to feel it a little bit more now. I started watching Hunter x Hunter, which is an extremely popular one that I'm really surprised that it's taken me this long to watch, but I recently finished the first season, which is the entirety of the Hunter exam arc, and it's good. I really like it. Gon is he's such a sweetheart. What a cute little kid. Honestly, his enthusiasm is contagious. I'm just sitting here like, oh, look at this kid, man. Look at this kid. And Killua is really cute too. I really like how they basically just started becoming friends. They just met each other and they're like BFFs. And I'm like, how? That's super realistic. Because when we were like 12 years old, we just became friends with people. Like there was no rhyme or reason to how that happened. So anyways, loving Hunter x Hunter. I've also been watching Dorarara. Not to be confused with Dorororo or Dorohedoro. But I've been watching that with a friend. I'm still on the first season. I'm about like halfway through the first season. And to be quite honest, I could not tell you at all what this story is about. Like, I looked at the description for it and I still was like, I don't know what this is about. I'm halfway through this anime and I'm still like, I don't know what this is about. But in a good way, I've tried to predict, like, everything that's been going on in this show, and I've just been wrong basically every single time. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where it's headed, but I'm enjoying the ride. I would definitely check it out if you're into kind of, like, just like a wacky, a wacky show where, you know, there's kind of a mysterious element, a somewhat of a examination of the human condition kind of element. I don't really know what I'm saying right now, but it's wild and I'm really enjoying it. And I don't really think I've watched any movies. Yeah, I haven't watched any movies this month, I don't think. That's basically it. There might have been other things that I watched, but clearly they haven't made an impression on me because I can't remember, so let me just pause myself here for a second because I don't know how I forgot literally probably my favorite thing that I watched in the month of May, which was Assassination Classroom. I watched the entire thing, all 2 seasons, almost all nearly 50 episodes in the course of like a week, and I loved it so much. Basically, the premise of this anime is that this weird octopus-like entity destroys 70% of the moon, shows up on Earth, was like, peace, I just destroyed the moon, and I'm gonna do the same thing to Earth in a year. But meanwhile, I'm going to teach these specific kids, this specific classroom at this specific high school that's like a really prestigious high school, but he's gonna be teaching classroom E, or the end class, the leftovers, the people who don't do good in school. They get dropped down into this classroom. They are ostracized by the rest of the school, by the teachers, by the other students. It's just a hot mess. So he's like, I'm gonna teach this class, and also they have the opportunity to assassinate me in this year that I'm giving you all in preparation. And none of these nations, Japan, the United States, anywhere, has been able to defeat this dude named Koro Sensei by the students. And yeah, basically he kind of teaches them how to be assassins, and then there's other teachers that get involved. It's like surprisingly heartwarming, and I loved it so fucking much. Like, get on it, okay? It was so good. That is all I have for you in this May wrap up. Hopefully I post this soon and not towards the end of the month like I usually do. But yeah, have you read any of the books that I mentioned? What did y'all read? What did y'all watch in the month of May? What are y'all looking forward to reading in June? Let's chat in the comments down below. As always, I have all of my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, yada yada, in the description, as well as petitions and resources, as well as the books mentioned along with content warnings for those books. I will catch y'all in the next video.